I'm with Scott Walker, Walker Carpet One, Bellingham, Washington, the new head knocker here at the WFCA, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave. It's a great privilege.
Well, the organization is changing and has changed, and just from talking to you while we were waiting to do this interview, you are charged.
Very charged. We've got dynamic ideas, dynamic leadership. We're on a mission to do some wonderful things for the industry.
That's interesting. This has been an interesting meeting, the first time the press has been here, and I think they probably explained that in just the last presentation that was made.
Yes, it's something we wanted to accomplish. You got in a little bit late, but we wanted to have a full demonstration, and it's hopefully the first and assuredly not the last.
Let me just ask you about business in general. Here we are now in the second quarter of 2015. How would you describe what we're seeing in terms of level of business, what you're seeing and what you're hearing your counterparts?
Generally speaking, quite positive. Not all dealers and not all areas, but on balance, it's an increase. Perhaps not a dramatic increase for some, but everybody is fairly upbeat. And I'm sure there's a few operators that are having bad luck, but I think the trend overall is certainly positive.
You know, one of the things Scott Humphrey was talking about, he just gave the president's message just before we came out here to talk, the threats that independent retailers are facing. And we've all known that, but it sort of rekindles the emotion when you hear it said like he said it. Just talk about that whole situation.
Well, clearly there are a series of threats. The world has consolidated. All businesses have consolidated. Our industry has seen dramatic pressure in that area. And there's many things that have to be done to stabilize it and to hopefully reverse it.
One of the things he mentioned, and I know we've talked about it, a lot of people have talked about it, are the millennials, and how from surveys that I've seen, ask them where they would buy floor coverings, and it's one of the big box players. And they don't seem to recognize that there are independent retailers out there. That would seem to be a major threat right there.
Yeah, assuredly. So we're looking at aspects of marketing, how to approach them. Certainly the traditional avenues are of virtually no effect. The process of engagement, we've got to get their attention, and then we've got to get them in, and then we've got to be talking to them in the way that they want to be talked to. We have to be showing them what they want to see in the manner that they want to see it.
Do you think most retailers are plugged into that? I know certainly a lot are. I talk to them every day. Are they ready to do that?
Oh, I think there is a general willingness. We are in an industry at the dealer level that is somewhat resistant to change. We've got a lot of learning to do. We're coming out of a period where there has been some constriction of staff. There clearly, when we look at our business models, we have to redefine what we need for the support of our operations, and certainly marketing to the new is something we really have to put some weight in, and it's something we're going to be doing at this level so we can recommend what needs to be done from our perspective.
That's something that you see the WFCA becoming involved in.
Absolutely.
You know, I interview a lot of retailers, and they'll say, well, you know, we really have the service, which I'm sure is true, but it seems to me communicating that at the time when they're on the internet looking for who knows what, that's the time. It seems like most of these people, if they're not aware of an independent, are not going to be in any kind of position to understand the level of service that they have. That needs to be communicated, I mean, quickly, up front.
Absolutely the case. You can't have the conversation with them until they're in front of you, and that's not going to happen unless they have a compelling reason to come and talk to us.
Do you see, I mean, we've lost, what, 20, 30% of independent retailers since the recession. Is that going to continue?
I suspect there's going to be a slight further contraction. I think there are some good initiatives being taken to introduce a level of excellence that hopefully can arrest the fall and then head it back in the other direction. Although I suspect even at the dealer level there's going to be some further consolidation, but not necessarily, it won't adjust the market share in favor of the box stores. I think probably just some further consolidation.
Well, I think we are seeing growth. We're seeing a lot of multi-store retailers adding stores, and maybe there's a shrinkage in numbers, but not necessarily in stores.
Yes, exactly right.
The S600 carpet standard, it's been a carpet installation standard, has been something that the WFCA has been involved in for over 5 years. I don't know if it's 6 years yet, but if it's not, it's close.
It's right there.
What's your view as to how the typical retailer in the United States looks at this or feels a need or lack of need for it? What's your take on that?
Well, to some degree, there's a lack of understanding about what the S600 is. Those who are aware of CR 104 and 105 probably have no conception of what the S600 is unless they've been exposed to it, because it is comprehensive and it covers everything that really wasn't dealt with before. So there is I doubt there's a high level of awareness. There is a recognition of the need for it, but not probably what has been accomplished. Once there is that awareness, I think it'll catch on very, very quickly.
I've been in seminars, Robert Varden and Tom Jennings, and Robert would ask, who was doing the installation training part of it, how many of you are aware of CRI 104, 105? And barely one hand went up. I understand even in the ceramic business, the same thing happens when they're asked about the carpet or the tile installation standards. And these are, I would think, the installers in that room are at least in a place where they're subjecting themselves to education. I mean, that's an interesting state of affairs.
It's stunning. It's interesting. One of the charges today is that we consider advancing the notion of its incorporation into the Uniform Building Code, and that's a huge step forward. It certainly is a logical extension of what has happened, but for those who are not aware, it will be a stunning revelation.
For sure. Scott Walker, are you always asked if you're going to run, if you're going to announce?
Well, I've given serious consideration to it, and I'm taking input from all sources because it's.
Have you thought of the situation if he runs, if he is the nominee and does win, what that's going to mean for somebody with the same name?
The opportunities are just endless, aren't they?
One last question. I've always been aware that there's an installation practitioner problem. The number of installers coming in, especially in the ceramic industry, is very small. And I've heard some retailers here talk about it, and it almost seems that's the kingmaker. If you have access to installers, you are the guy that's going to get the job. Great and growing problem. Is this something the WFCA is going to become involved in?
Yes. It's we regard it as probably the leading challenge, both in terms of numbers and also the skill level. And it's one thing to train them, but it's another to recruit them. And we've got to be doing both, and the industry has to be doing both. And it is an immediate and increasing problem.
But, I mean, where do you even start?
Well, we're talking about a number of different opportunities. Certainly, we're working right now with a number of veterans organizations. We're working with the U.S. Army Reserve. We're going to explore all options. We're going to be working with a number of government agencies. We have to get to it, and we got to get to it now.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me, I mean, it's a great problem, and I had several people that I talked with, and some of them that I was able to interview, that some of the unusual methods they're going to, including recruiting from out of state, bringing people into their state and guaranteeing them a job and an income. To be able to do that, that's something that I've never heard happen before.
Yeah, I suspect that that's going to be very, very active. I mean, there's some area, well, the entire construction field is suffering from a shortage, and it's increasing across the board. I mean, we can probably recruit tile installers right now from the southern borders, knowing what we pay for them. I suspect it's going to be front and center.
I hear you. If I'm standing here a year and you have finished your 1 year, of course you'll probably be re-upped and will be, no, I guess you can't now. Nope. I guess they got another one coming in right behind you. What are the things you hoped will take place in that year?
Well, that all the initiatives we have now in play have moved forward. We've got a number of things that we can't talk about. I hope that those have all come to fruition and that we can talk about them in public and that we're moving forward with them. We've got a very full plate, and we just want to have forward positive motion really on all of those. And we've got so many things on the list that we really don't need too much new.
I thought I could pry some of those out of you, but I guess I'm not going to be. You're too good of a politician.
I'm very practiced.
Scott, thanks so much for talking to us. I appreciate it. Congratulations on your chairmanship, and have a good flight home.
Thank you very much, Dave.
We've been talking with Scott Walker. He is the new chairman of the WFCA. We're at the WFCA board meeting in California. This is Talk Floor TV.